Alright. Let's hope nothing explodes. So Pathfinder 2nd Edition, Bestiary 3. Let's see how, let's see if we don't die. Abandoned Zealot. Should have totally watched No Net 1 stream and took notes and, you know, just get on to, oh yeah, I should set up my thing for live chat, because that's a thing. There we go, flawless. Flawless victory. Introduction. Welcome to Pathfinder Bestiary 3. We know all this. Creature name, this is all the same. Nothing crazy. Adjusting creatures. Combat power. Elite adjustments, weak adjustments, that's all the same. Gear, that's all the same. Skills, that's all the same. Ah! Abandoned Zealot. Oh god, of course the first word is just, hey, do you have dyslexia? Good luck. Liturgies of the Lost. A particular form of Abandoned Zealot appears near the Starstone Cathedral in the city of Absalom. Mortals who fail to reach divinity through the test of the Starstone perish and arise as these wrathful undead, despising their aspirants. I can read. Once devout followers whose faith proved false, abandoned zealots return from the doorstep of the afterlife after being denied the eternal reward they expected. Consumed by self-loathing for the lives they squandered to false faith and empty creeds, these lost souls serve as terrifying and... where am I? Terrifying and implacable, yet ultimately pathetic foes. Oh, that's... I mean, they're CR6, they can't be that pathetic. A shapeless mass of smoke and shadow coils behind their broken masks. An abandoned zealot moves, they spit, and they shriek. A hateful cacophony of bitter lamentations and anguished weeping. Abandoned zealots are most commonly associated with the Church of Razmir, which upholds a mortal wizard as a god, a truth unknown to most worshippers. However, abandoned zealots might arise from a true religion if they've been misled about their faith's true tenets or aims. This situation could easily result from the cruel schemes and addictions of sinister beings such as shrines, clems, and the blasphemous devils known as Demiviges. Alright, what do? You have dark vision, you have life sense. Actually, that's really good. Sense apostate. Necro, one regional language. Okay. So use some fearing stuff, they can hide well. They can do some jumpy stuff. They cannot lift to save their life. Good to know. Sense apostate. Detection, divination, divine. An abandoned zealot can sense the presence and direction of false priests within 500 feet of them. Lead or running water blocks the sense. That's neat. Divine and positive. Okay, so not magic resistance. Bat reflect or fort save, that makes sense. Actually, kind of 22 AC at level 6. Yeah, that's pretty low. Disease, paralysis, poison, precision, unconscious, resist all damage 5, except force, ghost touch, or positive, double resistance against non-magical. Ooh. Anathematic aversion, emotion, fear, or mental. If they encounter a priest of their former faith, an abandoned zealot must accept a will save against the highest spell DC among those priests, or the highest will DC if none of them can cast spells. The zealot attempts the saving throw only once per minute, even if more priests arrive later. Ooh. The zealot spends their reaction to stride directly toward a priest. of their former faith for 1 minute. The abandoned zealot's hand of despair deals 1 additional damage die against priests of the reader's former faith. So wait, does the former faith and abandoned zealot must attempt a will save. Abandoned zealot will save against the highest spell DC against those priests. It's a weird mechanic. Its then zealot spends their reaction to stride directly toward a priest of their former faith. The abandoned zealot becomes frightened 1 and gains the fleeing condition until the end of the next turn. It has failure but frightened 2. Elegy of the Faithless. I can speak. A divine spell is cast within 30 feet of the abandoned zealot. Effect: the abandoned zealot howls an elegy of regret, forcing the spellcaster to attempt a DC 22 will save, or DC 24 of the spellcaster. Zealot's faith, okay, there. They disrupt the spell. Not bad. Zealous Conviction, that's a fun spell. Rend Faith. When hit by an abandoned zealot's hand of despair, a creature capable of divine spellcasting or with divinely granted abilities must see DC 24 will save or be unable to use those spells or abilities until the end of the next turn. Interesting. That's actually... Ooh, what the... What? It's like a bear and a person. It's so cute. Lost Cousins. Legend about Adelet's origin suggests they might have fox-like kin. Some believe these kin are kitsune, while others point to the more powerful vulpinels. Ooh. Excited for that. That is more likely progenitors. Adelets dwell in the farthest, harshest reaches of the crown of the world. At first glance, these... Holy shit, creature 10? At first glance, these isolated people look much like their Eritiki human cousins. They typically have terracotta skin, straight black hair, and compact, powerful builds. However, Adelets tend to be taller and more sinewy than their human kin. Up-close Adelets' strangeness reveals itself. Each spots a maw full of wolf-like teeth. Their legs and tail resemble that of a dog. Do you have a tail? Eh. Adelet's legends say that long ago a mighty hunter lost his way far from home and came upon a house of whale bone and ice. A woman dressed in white fox furs greeted him, fed him, and tended to his frostbite. In time, they married and had 10 children. Holy. 5 of whom bore the legs and tails of foxes. Those children stayed with their mother, while the other 5, born with the legs and tails of wolves, traveled with their father back to human lands and became the first Adelets. Adelets aren't inherently evil, but their culture is warlike, xenophobic, and noticeably lacking in humility. They see themselves as natural rulers of their Arctic wastes and view everyone else as squatters at best and invaders at worst. The typical Adelet is stronger and faster than any mundane human, with the ability to walk naked in a blizzard, God, and gallop ice-cold mists. Given that, it's little wonder that Adelets, it is a D, right? Yes. Develop something of a superiority complex. Still, while Adelet raids are a common problem for travelers in the crown of the world, a handful of wily and intrepid merchants have forged peaceful relations with certain Adelet communities along more common routes. Let's see. Parthatson, low vision, precise scent. Nice. Acrobatics, athletic. Ooh. I like athletics because that means they can grapple. And trip. Stealth 20. Survival 18. That's pretty interesting. You can make this as kind of like an ambush here. Wolfstorm, Aura, Cold, Evocation, Primal, 60 feet. A clammy, frigid mist billows forth ahead of the Adelet. Creatures within the mist become concealed. And creatures outside the mist become concealed to creatures within it. An Adelet can see through the orb, though. Ooh, that's really juicy. Because, like, normally it's like, oh, you're concealed, I'm concealed, we're all concealed. I gain a benefit, but so do you. And it's just like, okay. But here, it's like, no, only you suffer. Avenging Bite. A creature within reach of the Adelet's Jaws strike. Attacks one of the Adelet's allies. Affect the Adelet with Jaws strike against a triggering creature. Jaws strike. Okay. Damage, draw, spear. Frozen weapons. Weapons wielded by an elegant affected frost property rune. Back attack. Let's strikes deal 2d6 damage to creatures that are within the reach of at least 2 of the outlet's allies. Wolf Rhyme. Cool, concentrate, evocation, primal. Atlas mist turns biting cold and coalesces into a thick rime of frost that deals 66 cold damage to creatures inside the Atlas Wolfson aura. And I'll start the Atlas next turn. Nice. I got the Oh, it's a kitty. Celestial outsiders hail from Nirvana, the plane of the purest good. Agathuni are born from the souls of mortals who attain the enlightenment they sought in life. You become a cat when you become enlightened? I'm looking at this. Because they all start out as mortals who are rewarded for their determination, self-awareness, and purity of heart, Agathons are more likely than other celestials to intervene in working non-violently against the spread of evil on the material plane. Agathions have served as moderators between the chaotic Azotes and the lawful Archons, so they know how vital communication with mortals can be to bridge differences and ensure the evil doesn't win out. All Agathions possess animal-like aspects. Some appear more anthropomorphic, while others spend most of their time in forms nearly indistinguishable from true animals. I would always be a cat. Oh, I see. You can actually, decide what your form is. That's neat. Still, others prefer to shapeshift as they see fit or present as humanoid when in company of humanoid mortals. Nice talking this long. This is the longest I've talked in a year. Each type of Agathion serves a specific role in Nirvana. Their duties and forms generally reflect the core values they cultivated in life that led them to their enlightenment. Since Agathions receive their animal forms as reward for their mortal lives, they take great insult with insinuations. Okay, insinuations. I know that word. They're merely magical talking beasts, or even worse, that their forms are a curse of punishment. They're stealthy and extremely inquisitive contingent of Agathians who gather information about the mortal world for other Agathians. While they love to explore the material plane, they sate their curiosity and are generally reclusive and skittish. These dual instincts war with each other whenever something exciting piques their interest. Because they're so small sizes, they don't pose a combat threat to most creatures. Instead, Savanchis act as Nirvana's eyes and ears in the mortal world, reporting back to superiors and calling for help should they run into danger. It's really cute. Savanchis appear indistinguishable from domestic felines save for their violet eyes and their telltale blaze of differently colored fur on their chests. I mean, yeah, stripes are a bit weird. I mean, white stripes on black fur. If it was brown stripes on brown fur, that'd be fine. No one would notice. Maybe the eyes would tell, but other than that. Of course, flying gives them away outright. They can fly. So if at all possible, they only do so while in trusted company to avoid detection. Their fur color runs the spectrum of normal feline colorations. They can also transform into mist when necessary to maintain discretion or make a hasty getaway. Getaway. Celestial, common, draconic. Cat's curiosity. Savanchi's core value is curiosity. This enables them to seek out experiences, information, understanding. Can use trained skills for all skills, even if they're untrained. Ooh. Give them some options. Where are senses? Dark vision. Damage. Bad. Gaseous form, read omens, cantrips, detecting lights. So yeah, they're a scout. They're a scout. No direction. Prestidigitation, stabilize, constant, speak with animals, champion focus spell. Let's go into here real quick. Where? Here we go. This is the this. This is what it was referring to. Vulpino. They are CR6. Weaker than the these. Oh, I want to play one of those. I guess I came with Beaskin. Vulpino serves as the cunning and clever musicians and minstrels of the Agathians. Incredibly far-ranging, these fox-like humanoids love traveling to learn and teach about all the unique songs, dances, myths, and traditions they can find. That doesn't sound at all like what I was reading before, those other ones, so it's weird. Though they prefer to travel alone, Vulpinos are extremely gregarious toward those they meet on their journeys. They enjoy participating in festivities. I'm going to adjust my camera because I'm realizing it's a little low. No, it's a little high. Or a little low. I can speak. They enjoy participating in these festivities and cultures they encounter, as they're known to form small traveling groups of like-minded individuals if they believe that their shared experience can prove beneficial. Vulpine Flair. Oh wait, there's a... Banshees will work with heroes who remain patient with their curiosity and skittishness. They're inquisitive, alternating between affection and aloofness. They do what they can to aid and defend their companions. But their strong sense of self-preservation means they'll likely flee if they sense they can't win a fight. Bipedal Vulpino stand around 3 feet tall with... Oh, they're so tiny! With humanoid-clad hands and fluffy tails, almost as long as their bodies. They typically appear with red fur, though leaders feature either white or black pelts with gray sprinkled across their muzzles and backs. Fox Agathians like to wear stylish but functional clothing from the places they visit, often establishing themselves with small trinkets and souvenirs they picked up along the way. Oh, raccoon. And dragon. Ooh. Ooh. Me ahead of myself. As the most whimsical and playful of the Agathians, I was hoping I could avoid that word, Proceals are the most likely to be encountered on the material plane, teaching deep philosophical lessons and delivering wisdom through pranks and impersonations. Mischievous and playful, these raccoon-headed humanoids love to socialize with mortals and learn about their societies. Unlike their mortal counterparts, I'm going to attempt to say the word Proceals. Fur starts off dark russet in color, giving way to gray and white flecks. I'm pretty sure I'm not supposed to pronounce the T in russet, so I'm going to say Rossetti. White flecks on their muzzles as they grow older. Only Procoil leaders boast their stark gray and black coloration of true raccoon. Those who recognize Procoil's age and wisdom treat these creatures with great respect. Whatever their natural appearance, Procoils make excellent shapeshifters and can assume the form of any humanoid that they've encountered. They use this ability only for the greater good of the humanoid of their community. What are you doing? Come here. Will either get out or come here. Those who recognize Procoil's age, wisdom, treat them with respect. Whatever their natural appearance, Procoils make excellent shapeshifters and can assume the form of any humanoid they've encountered. Ooh. Use the ability on for greater good, or of that humanoid or their community, often appearing as someone's trusted mentor to deliver an important message in a more laid-back fashion than talking to a magical celestial raccoon. I mean, I'd be okay with this. Why are you a butt? Nope. Yeah. Alright, someone trust mentor to deliver an important message. Right. They're not above playing the occasional harmless prank on the person whose form they have assumed, especially when they can use it to teach a valuable lesson. The raccoon Agathians prefer to use the blade if forced into combat, and because I'm not cruel, here is my cat. There, you've gotten attention. Are you happy? Let me just make sure that my camera is aligned. Yep, okay. I prefer to use blade if forced into combat, but they're prepared to use their claws and fight dirty if necessary. While born from souls of the enlightened like other Agathians, Coils derive their core value of whimsy from truly understanding the delicate balance between society and the individual. These clever celestials prefer enabling communities under attack to establish the evil threats thrive in their own build on their own. Acrobatics, deception, diplomacy, medicine, nature, nirvana lore, religion, society, great forgery, shenanigans, stealth, thievery, survival. So they are very peaceful with their spells. So they have like calm emotions, charm, which they use to probably like tone down a fight rather than, you know, I charm you and now you fight for me. It's like I charm you and now shut the hell up. Heroism, invisibility, speak with animals, tongues, champion focus spell. 1 focus point. Interesting. Lay on hands. Change shape. Can transform only into a specific individual, small or medium humanoid that they've met at least once. Can't transform into a generic member of a unit. That's interesting. It's like the opposite of more traditional transformations in Pathfinder, which is interesting. Raccoon's whimsy. Gargoyles' core value is whimsy, though unlike their chaotic tricksters, gargoyles' playful actions have a pattern, and their pranks always come with a valuable lesson, even if it takes a long time to decipher the meaning. Receiving growing such a lesson requires at least 10 minutes of interaction with the gargoyle. We'll never say that word right, but can take much longer. A character who learns from the gargoyle's lesson gains the benefits of the aid reaction from the gargoyle once during the next month. Afterwards, they become immune to this effect from all gargoyles. Huh. And there's no time limit on that. Interesting. So it's just like, did they help you once? Alright, never again. Interesting. No, CR were these things? CR 8. Oh yeah. Or level 8. Draconal. A word I can say. Dragon Agathians, known as Draconals, number among the most powerful of their kin, and also the wisest, embodying the wisdom of the benevolent philosopher king. With their wisdom comes an elevation above material matters, making them the most removed from the troubles and lives of mortals. Draconals serve as the guardians of powerful magic, and they dispense their wisdom in service of the greater good of Nirvana and their celestial planes. Draconals appear more draconic than humanoid. They walk on their hind legs and balance on their long serpent-like tail. Interesting. Sharp claws tip their scaled humanoid hands. Similar to true dragons, the Draconal's coloration signifies different breath weapon traits and resistances. Draconals also choose spells from one of 4 domains. All have the options of the air and healing domains, but their color determines the other 2. Black Draconals breathe and are resistant to fire. Really? And their additional domain options are fire and luck. Red Draconals have the same fire, breath, and resistance, but their additional domain options are protection and sun. Green and white Draconals breathe and are resistant to cold. Really? But green Draconals have the options of nature and water domains, while white Draconals have the options of freedom and repose. Yellow Draconals breathe and are resistant to acid, and their additional domain options are earth and luck. That is really cool, because that is so different from chromatic dragons. That's just really cool. They're large. Wait, what size are these things? Medium. Okay. Infernal. Speak with animals, tongues. They have. Oh my god. AC 45. Protection. HP 370. Weaknesses 15. Creature within the Draconal's reach would take damage effect before applying damage. The Draconal casts lay on hands on the triggering creature. Interesting. Divine spells, miracle. Okay. Breath of Life, Dispel Magic, Divine Decree, Earthquake, Heal, ×3, Implosion, Storm of Vengeance, Constant, 7th, Circle of Protection, Speak with Animals, Tongues, True Seeing. Damn. 3 focus points, and they can use Dazzling Flash, Lay on Hands, and Protector's Sphere. And the Eternal Breeze, a blast of energy that deals 21d6 fire damage to creatures. They choose to damage in a 60-foot cone. They can make this effect non-lethal for selected creatures in the area, or choose not to damage certain creatures at all. They can't use the breath weapon again for 1d4 rounds. Neat. Dragon's Wisdom. Draconos embody the core value of wisdom, but every path to wisdom and enlightenment differs, so Draconal powers vary by temperament and coloration, and Draconal scale color determines their associated energy damage type. They gain resistance 15 to the damage type, deal 46 extra damage of that type with their strikes, and deal 21d6 damage of that type with their breath weapon. You gain additional wisdom in the form of basic and advanced domain spells from one domain. Chosen from 4 domains available to Draconals with their scale color. For Draconal has the protection in some domains. Makes sense. Now what the hell are you? What is going on here? The Amalgamite. Ooh. Teleportation magic can prove a difficult undertaking, even for experienced spellcasters. It requires precise calculation and timing, knowledge of the intended destination, and meticulous control over surging conjuration magics. A mistake in even the most minute element of such a spell can lead to disastrous results for those involved. When a particularly powerful spellcaster makes an error of this kind, either through arrogance or simple misjudgment, they might transform into an Amalgamite. That is really cool. A massive flesh and misaligned limbs in Amalgamite is the warped body of a former spellcaster, sometimes joined with another version of itself, to incorporate additional limbs or other irregularities. Does that mean that they, like, fuse with an alternate universe version of themselves? They're still alive, but they have become aberrants mentally and physically, with only the vaguest memories of their previous existence, which makes them a dangerous and bewildering foe. Their weird, warped anatomy constantly shifts and regrows, allowing the creatures to shrug off physical blows, save those that pierce through its flesh and into its core being. This is creature 13, too. The magical residue of an Amalgamite's creation radiates from it, seeping into and destabilizing any living beings they do. Close infected creatures then further spread the Amalgamite's aura among larger groups of allies and foes alike. The Amalgamite's uses this power to manipulate and confuse their enemies, whom they can teleport into traps, force into confrontations with other enemies, or draw close into striking range with their own odd appendages. God, that's so cool. Former friends. Amalgamites are often found in the company of other creatures, such as lesser aberrations, cultists, or of the dark tapestry, or the undead corpses of their former companions. They use these allies, to spread their destabilizing field to other foes and separate those enemies from their own allies. That's so cool. God, it's so nightmarish. Draconic. Interesting. Arcana 27, athletics plus 22. Interesting for a mage. Interesting stats. AC 33, HP 220, regeneration 10. Deactivated by piercing. Interesting. Immunity is controlled, mental. Weakness, piercing 10, resistance is bludgeoning 10, slashing 10. Destabilizing field. Aura, conjuration 40 feet. A creature that begins its turn within the aura area feels his body begin to stretch and must succeed a DC 33 fortitude save or become destabilized. A destabilized creature emits a 10-foot destabilizing field aura and becomes sickened 1. The destabilization ends when the creature is no longer sickened. A creature that succeeds a saving throw against the aura is temporarily immune to a destabilizing field for 1 minute. Displace. Trigger. The Amalgamite is hit by a strike. The Amalgamite repositions itself or transposes itself with another creature. If the amalgamite successfully changes its location, it and any transposed creature take half damage from the triggering strike. Ooh. That's interesting. Limb, range, warping ray. Magic range 20 feet. 3d8 plus 8 force damage. Occult needs spells, Ethereal Jaunt, Warp Mind, Blink ×2, reposition as 2 actions, and it has the Conjuration, Occult, and Teleportation traits. The amalgamite teleports into an unoccupied space you can see within 50 feet. Neat. Transpose, 2 actions, Conjuration, Occult, Teleportation. The amalgamite chooses up to 2 destabilized creatures they can see within 50 feet and swaps their positions or moves a single such creature to an occupied space. They can see within range. If the amalgamite chooses 2 creatures, they can choose their self as one of the creatures, but both targets must be the same size. An unknown creature can the DC 32 will save. If either target succeeds the saving throw, both are unaffected. This is so cool! Oh my god. Because it's like... he's battlefield control to the extreme. And I love battlefield control. Oh, that's so cool. What are you? You are a snake. Amphisbaena. Oh my god, we're only an A. An Amphisbaena is an extremely aggressive venomous viper of remarkable size that bears 2 heads, one on each end of its body. It moves in a manner similar to that of a more common sidewinder snake, throwing its body forward in a loop and anchoring itself by keeping one head and the other around at all times. So that's interesting. So yeah, it goes like kind of a waddle like this. Yeah, I've seen snakes move like that. Amphibians typical prey includes rabbits, foxes, various birds, small deer, and even humanoids. If presented the opportunity, fierce and territorial by nature, they attack just about anything that gets near their lairs, regardless of the intruder's size. When a child has been warned about going too far into the woods alone, unless they wander too close to an Amphisbaena den and become the creature's next meal. The venom of Amphisbaena is incredibly potent, able to take down a stout dwarf within minutes if left untreated. However, it also has uses in a variety of healing remedies, which makes it a valuable commodity for collecting. For example, a pregnant person might be advised to drink the venom in small dilute doses to help safeguard the pregnancy. Mixing small amounts of the venom with various herbs and oil creates a pollutus. I know what that means, I don't know how to say it, which dulls aches and pains. As a result, the image of an amphisbaen appears in many contexts associated with healing and alchemical subjects, such as labels for tinctures, annotations in herbalist records, and illustrations in textbooks of medicine. The first Amphisbaena is said to have formed from the blood that fell as Medusa's head was severed. The story's origin most likely stems from the fact that amphibians are oddly immune to petrification, which in turn leads to them sometimes being kept as pets by a Medusa. That is cute, and I'm going to take that and I'm going to use it eventually. Like, I love it. A Medusa who keeps an Amphisbaena as a pet might regard the viper as their most treasured companion, or perhaps even as their own child. Aww. Despite these fabled supernatural origins and the occasional special treatment they receive, however, amphibians are entirely immune to animals that only rudimentarily... are entirely mundane animals with only rudimentary intelligence and no innate magical abilities whatsoever. So they're just two-headed snakes. Where do they poop? There's probably a butt right there. Well, two-headed snake is by far the most common amphibian. The term sometimes describes other creatures with heads on both ends of their bodies. Occasionally, it's cat dog. Occasionally, stories circulate of a mysterious amphibian when the body of a lizard, clawed feet, or even feathered wings. These stories are typically chopped up to be an overreactive imagination of an abundance of drink, but they persist regardless. Well, now we need to make cat dog. Petrified immunity. Yes, as mentioned. Tremor sense, 60 feet. Interesting. Speed, climb, and swim speeds. Fangs. Venom. Venom and blinding spittle. Saving throw DC 18 fortitude save. Maximum duration 6 rounds. Stage 1, 1d6 poison damage and enfeebled. 2d6 poison damage and enfeebled 2 and slowed 1. 3d6 poison damage and paralyzed 1 round. So it can't. Well, I mean, it might kill you, but it can't normally kill you. It's not like at stage 3 you die. A creature critically hit by an Affamentus spit strike is blinded for 1 round. Twin bites. 1 action. It makes a fangs strike with each of its heads, each against a different target. Both strikes count towards most attack penalty, but the penalty doesn't increase until after it has made both attacks. Interesting. Android! Ooh, that's actually really cute. Because usually they're depicted as like very cybernetic beings, and this one actually looks really human. And their tattoos are more like runes. It's really cute. I like that. Words? Oh. Androids possess synthetic bodies inhabited by living souls. These technological organisms first came to Galarian from another world when their ship crashed, scattering wreckage all across Nymeria in an event known as the Reign of Stars. Yes, my favorite. Feared by liquid Khalids and enslaved by the Technic League, androids on Galarian have spent eons being hated and hunted. Many androids survive by adopting human customs and hiding in plain sight, while others become criminals, hermits, or nomads. Designed to resemble humans, androids have several distinctive features. Their eyes have a metallic sheen, they rarely fall ill, and they have trouble displaying complex emotions. Circuit-like tattoos decorate their bodies, control internal nanites. When stimulated, these nanites kick their internal chemistry into overdrive, allowing them to function at peak performance that causes their circuitry to glow. Androids are created in sophisticated machines called foundries. They emerge as mature adults with newborn souls and no knowledge of their purpose for the world around them. Android bodies don't deteriorate, though their souls age like any other mortals. When an android feels they lived a full life, they willingly release their soul to the afterlife, causing their body to shut down and reboot. Once this process, known as renewal, completes, a new soul inhabits the body. Interesting. I knew that bit, but I just had an idea. Because I believe Pharasma has a thing of reincarnation. So you could have renewal and this be the reincarnated soul entering the body and having it basically be like regeneration from Doctor Who. If you wanted. Except, you know, they don't change appearance. But their personality might change. Their personality likely will change. Numerous android models exist. Oh, numerous. Android models exist, each designed to excel at different tasks and purposes. Androids of all models display countless variations of coloration, body, shapes, and gender identities. Theoretically, a foundry could be reprogrammed to create androids with new adaptations, colorations, and forms, perhaps even in the guise of other ancestries. Plus 5 distance motive. Acrobatics, athletics, crafting, deception, engineering, law, society, stealth, thievery. I love androids. Emotionally unaware, the android takes a -1 circumstance penalty to diplomacy and performance checks and to perception checks distance motive. The android infiltrator attempts a skill check but hasn't rolled yet. The android infiltrator stimulates their nanites, forcing their body to temporarily increase its efficiency. They gain a +2 status bonus during a skill check. In addition, their circuitry glows, creating a 10-foot emanation with dim light for 1 round. And no real special attacks or anything. Oh, it's the monkey man from Woody! I love these things. They're so cute. Look at him. I just want to give him head pats. Angasanis lurk in the depths of the world's jungles while these sapient four-armed apes prey on any creatures they deem lesser than themselves. Wait a minute. Distant words. Some androids speak Androphin, the language of their distant homeworld. Bruins across Nymeria bear Androphin script, but on Galarian almost none beyond some androids and members of the technically reader speak this rare alien language. Noted. Anyways, four-armed apes prey on any creatures they deem lesser than themselves. They're purportedly the divine minions of Angasan, demon lord of apes. While many Angazans do worship this foul god, scarce evidence exists to support their claim to fiendish heritage. Jungle-dwelling people know well to steer clear of suspected Angazani territories. Angazanis of such areas don't slaughter outright, often capturing trespassers to serve as slaves or as living sacrifices in heinous rituals. Jungle murderers. On Galarian, as Ganzis dwell most exclusively in remote reaches of the vast Mwangi jungle. Many of them served the hateful gorilla king Ruthazek in Usaro. I hope we get a gorilla race. But after his downfall over a decade ago, these supplicants have fallen into infighting. The mysterious Mwangi warrior Shozembi is attempting to reunite the Agathanis of Usaro, though not all of the fallen gorilla king's former minions are eager to follow a human leader. Dark vision. Religion. Interesting. Defensive disarm. A creature makes a melee weapon strike against the Agansi and misses. Requirements: the Agansi is benefiting from the defensive slam. Attempt to disarm the attacker of trigger weapon. Interesting. They have fists. Doesn't really do anything. Doesn't really do anything. Dominate. Fear. The Angazi beats a single opponent with all four of their brawny arms, leaving their foe nowhere to dodge. The Angazi makes a fist strike. On a successful attack, they deal fist damage to the target plus an additional 3d8 damage, and they meet the requirements to rend the target this turn even if they didn't hit on 2 consecutive strikes. Even on a failed attack, the Aganzi deals damage from 1 fist strike to the target, but they still miss completely on a critical failure. His ability counts as 4 attacks towards an Anganasi's multiple attack penalty. After using this ability, the Anganasi is flat-footed until the beginning of the next turn. Jesus. Rend Fist. 306. Pummeling charge, 3 actions. Effect: the Agansi rushes up to a foe with extreme speed and slams down with their fist. The Agansi strides or climbs up 3 times and makes 2 strikes against 1 enemy within reach. So we're on page 18. 306. Rend. A rend entry versus strikes the monster had. Requirements: the monster hit the same enemy with 2 consecutive strikes of the listed type in the same round. The monster automatically deals the strikes damage again to the enemy. Goodness. Animated object. Oh my god, we get more animated objects for summon construct. Animated silverware. Swarm. That's so beautiful. Nobles are known to pay great amounts to animate their silverware, both for ease in cleaning and to serve as novelties during dinner parties. A mindless large construct. AC 16, construct armor, death effects, yeah. Area damage 3, splash damage 3. Construct armor, god, they have so many fucking. I think constructs already have this. Slice and dice. 1 action, magical. Each enemy in the animated silverware swarm space takes 1d6 piercing or slashing damage. Stick a fork in it. Animated silverware swarm attempts to pin a single creature. The target must attempt a DC 17 reflex save. Critical success. Target is unaffected. Pin suspicious clothing and gear. Negative 10 circumstance penalties with speeds as long as it remains in the swarm space. Nice, it can't step, and then the target is serially pinned by the silver orb, becoming immobilized until it escapes. Or uses 2 interact actions to remove all the silver orb. God, so cute. Choosing to animate. Most animated objects are created for convenience or out of vanity. Spellcasters often animate brooms and dishes to aid with cleaning, books and scrolls for aid with research, and carts and carriages for transport. Most objects are animated without the intent of using them as guardians, and many animated objects exist without the rest. What was I? Exist without the rest of the world even noticing. Only those with money and power choose to animate objects as guardians, and those are the animated objects most likely encountered on adventures. I see. Animated furnace. Huge forge or oven is animated to protect the workspace or kitchen. Travel alongside its owner or both. Perfect. Melee, door. These are so good. Does fire damage and improved grab as you get caught in the door. Fan the flames. The animated furnace opens its door and fans its flames in a 30-foot cone that deals 5d6 fire damage. Swallow hold. Why? Okay. I'm assuming that has to do with improved grab. Improved grab. The monster can use grab, knockdown, or push as a free action triggered by a hit with initial attack. A monster with improved grab still needs to spend an action to extend the duration for creatures that already is grabbed. Okay. And that's just... It doesn't say... Weird. Doesn't mention anything about eating you, but it has this. I'll need to check other entries later. See how it compares. Because I'm pretty sure this is like if it swallows you whole, but I think it needs to grab you first. Oh. I mean, just easy to do that. Animated trebuchet. Large armies sometimes pay exorbitant fees to animate their siege weapons. I can't imagine that would be helpful. AC 36, 32 unbroken construct armor. Same thing. Arm. Reach. 3d12 plus 11 bludgeoning plus grab. Ranged rock plus 28 brutal magical range 20 feet. Damage 3d10 plus 11 bludgeoning. Launch. The animated trebuchet has the creature grab and oh god. Is this gonna do what I think it does? In effect, the animated trebuchet attempts an athletics check against the grabbed creature's fortitude DC. On a success, it fires a creature up to 40 feet in height of up to 120 feet away. The creature takes 12 bludgeoning damage plus the appropriate fallen damage. If the flung creature lands on another creature, the creature it lands on takes the same amount of bludgeoning damage. DC 33 basic reflex save. On a successful launch, the animated trebuchet must interact to reposition its arm into the proper position before it can launch again. Trample, larger or smaller arm. DC 33. That is beautiful. Losing control. The process for animated objects varies from object to object and by the needs of the ritual. Some rituals designate a controller whom the animated object obeys without orders. Many animated objects fall back to defensive tactics. In other cases, the ritual may have been poorly performed or may have failed after many years of causing the animated object to enter an uncontrollable state, or it attacks anything it sees. Animated 100-foot tall statue is worth the cost for spellcasters guarding immense dungeons. Creature 15. Enormous. An enemy colossus takes up space of 6 squares by 6 squares, 30 feet by 30 feet, and is 100 feet tall. That is enormous. I will admit. Fist, damage, proof grab. Colossus can grab a creature using only one hand. It can move normally with a creature grabbed or restrained in its fist, carrying the creature along. It has 2 creatures grabbed in this way. It can't use its fist strike. Constrict? I guess that's it, just wringing it out. Trample? Huge or smaller foot. Freaking 4. Also deals less amount of damage to any number of creatures grabbed or restrained by it. Yeah, so it just brings you out. My god. That is so cool. Hello. You're new. Arboreal. Arboreals are tree-like ancient guardians of forests, nurturing new growth and maintaining a balanced ecosystem as if the vast wilderness were their garden. Arboreals are thoughtful and deliberate until something threatens their realms and invites their wrath. Okay, they're not new. Late bloomers. Though they grow faster than trees, arboreals take decades to reach maturity. They spend their early years rooting in place, developing an affinity for the flora of their homeland and tuning to its rhythms, while adult arboreals keep a watchful eye on their progress. Aww. After the first century, young arboreals become more mobile, often apprenticing with senior arboreals in their territory as they take up the mantle of forest guardian. Arboreal Reaper. Creature 7. While some forests have an idyllic, peaceful quality to them, others feel distinctly unfriendly or even sinister. These forests are the favorite haunts of arboreal reapers. Sometimes these woodlands are sought out by secretive practitioners of malicious arts who claim the unsettling ambience aids their abilities. Arboreal reapers see no reason to interfere with such practices. Zoe! Come here. Come here. You're not gonna fight me, are you? As long as the balance of the forest is intact. All arboreals vary in appearance based on the surroundings, but arboreal reapers always seem vaguely eerie, whether they watch over a grim weld or a tropical rainforest. Often slightly warped, twisted, and covered in spiky protrusions, arboreal reapers sometimes sprout around old ruins or other permanent structures, breaking down incorporating structures as they mature and become more mobile. Arboreal reapers focus on the essential decaying phase of a forest's life cycle, becoming especially active in autumn and winter seasons. Their influence can often be seen in the explosion of mushrooms on a rotting log. You are the reason I'm allergic to snow mold. Or more so that I get such bad allergies during winter. His influence can often be seen in the explosion of mushrooms on a rotting log or the exciting fronds of a flourishing carnivorous plant. Like arboreal wardens, these woodland guardians are quicker to react to perceived threats than the more deliberate regents or retiring archives, at least by arboreal standards. Arboreal Reaper. Arboreal Common Sylvan. Intellects, Intimidate, Nature, Stealth. 18 Forests. Axe. Vulnerability, Fire 10. Bludgeoning, Piercing. Remember, we takes 5 additional damage from axes. I don't know why they couldn't have said axe 5. Melee, Branch. Root 10, or plus 18. Knockdown. Nice. Persistent Bleed, Vampiric Touch, Speckled Plants, Leech Moisture. 2 actions. Nipper Reaper grows still and focuses intently on a single foe within 50 feet. Draining moisture from the target's body. This deals 10d6 negative damage, DC 25 basic fortitude save. The Arboreal Reaper can't leech moisture again for 1d4 rounds. Nice. Taking a toll on my throat. Arboreal archives are solitary beings typically found in the remote wilderness. These ancient monoliths hold the memories of their vast territories, keeping mental records of the passing seasons of the world around them. Their knowledge of humanoid affairs varies as they find quickly shifting political situations difficult to comprehend, but through fungal networks, reports from arboreal wardens, and other woodland chatter, arboreal archives learn of each storm, drought, or logging threat encountered throughout their long years. They primarily observe and record rather than interfere, but they willingly offer wisdom to those who respectfully seek them out. Arboreal regents call upon archives for advice in times of strife, conferring on the best course of action to protect their realms. It is rare for there to be more than one arboreal archive in a given region. An archive senses they're nearing the end of their lengthy lifespan. A grove of regents gathers to nominate the wisest amongst them to become the next archive. After 4 seasons deliberation, all arboreals in the area congregate to witness a succession ritual during which the elder arboreal chief transfers the collection wisdom of the replacement before retiring. So they have a chat for like a year. They contemplate who will be the new leader, and then they do it. It takes a freaking year. Okay. As with all arboreals, no 2 arboreal archives are identical in appearance. The uniquely patterned bark of arboreal archives makes them even more distinct from one another, creating a mysterious and unique record of their knowledge of Verduran lore. Practitioners of primal magic believe the earthy colors adorning each arboreal archive's body hold clues about the memories and myths the creature collects and preserves. Speak with plants. If an arboreal archive dies unexpectedly before passing on their knowledge and assassin ritual, the amassed lore within their roots and bows explodes out in a shockwave that deals 8d10 mental damage to creatures within 30 feet before dissipating. Those who fail also fall prone. Goodness. We have Tangling Creepers, Earthbind, Entangle, Pickle Plants. And those are I will. Memory Maelstrom. The Arboreal Archive tries to overwhelm foes with a surge of information it has absorbed over its long life. The surge deals 5d6 mental damage to each enemy within 40 feet. You must attempt a DC 32 will save. Creature maintains composure, takes no damage, and is temporarily immune to Memory Maelstrom for 1 minute. The creature is stunned 1 and takes half damage. The creature takes full damage and is stunned 3. The creature takes double damage, is confused for 2d4 and is stunned 3. Damn. That's good stuff. Azura. Ooh. Azuras are, above all, proof that the gods are not infallible. These fiends arose as physical manifestations of divine accidents taken form when the gods themselves stumbled and blasphemed on a cosmic scale. As a result of their own divine genesis, and Azura loves above all to undo the workings of the divine. They eagerly travel to the material plane, seeking out temples, congregations of faithful worshippers, and religious orders of all stripes to sow doubt and destroy what the gods seek to build. Look at them. Shakeen. Perhaps the most pervasive Azuras of them all, Shakeen's particular delight in causing the downfall of those who give them succor, shelter, and most of all, schooling. Many a teacher has come across a Shokin disguised as a small child of exceptional talents or curiosity and taken them under their wing only to be beguiled into ruin. This diminutive Azura's cleverness is disproportionate to their size. They ask probing questions and coax their prey into decisions that lead to heresy, furthering the collapse of order and decency. When the world turns on the Shuriken's mentor, the Azura is gone. Not very far, for they love hiding unseen and watching the torment and destruction of their mentors. Azura Realms. Azuras command vast empires in the corners of hell. While the realms are tiny compared to the massive hierarchy of Asmodeus and Devilkind, they exist in a tacit agreement of coexistence within their diabolic neighbors. Not within. What do you do? Telepathy. Touch. Touch telepathy, like a familiar. Immunities, curses. Weakness, good too. Innate spells, charm, spider climb, petrificacy, cantrips, read aura, constant, magic aura, non-detection, change shape. Shotgun takes on the appearance of a small humanoid. This doesn't change the shotgun speed or their attack and damage modifiers with their strikes, but it might change the damage type their strikes deal, typically to bludgeoning. The user typically loses their jaws and thorn strikes unless the humanoid form has fangs or a similar unarmed attack. This alternate form has a specific persistent appearance, which Shotgun can change by performing a one-arm ritual. Fire Jackal Saliva. 6 rounds, 1d4 poison damage and clumsy 1, 26 poison damage and clumsy 2. Interesting. Twice as disciplined as a monk and twice as deadly as a warrior, and a ducat is the ultimate perversion of duality. 2 spiked Azura warriors impaled together to form one ferocious, incredibly efficient killing machine. And Educite's 2 heads, 2 hearts, and 2 minds rarely work as one, except to maim or kill. Even Educite's origin contains not 1 but 2 stories. Some believe they were created when 2 godlike brigands attempted to raid a celestial hall and had their bodies crushed together and thrown down from the heavens. Another legend states 2 Azura twins once challenged a great warrior to duel them in turn. When they attacked him together, he was so enraged he slammed one into another so hard that they were fused together from that day forth. Educites are among the most elite Azura warriors, making up for what they lack in spellcraft, with sheer viciousness and single-minded pursuit of inflicting pain. Educite. Aw. That is pretty silly and neat. Hey, they actually have, like, range their telepathy now. Dual Mind. The Educate fails the saving throw against a mental effect. The Educate shunts the effects into one of their minds, rendering them temporarily insensible. They change the result to success, but one of their bodies hangs limply until the end of their next turn. During this time, the Educant is clumsy 2, takes a -10 surfaces penalty for speed, and can't use Dual Mind, Dual Opportunity, or Dance of Destruction. Each round, they can use only opportunity, cookery, 1d6 plus 9 slashing, plus 2d6 bleed, and 1d4 evil. Interesting that it doesn't need to be flat-footed or anything. Dance of Destruction, 1 action requirements. The Adjukite's last action was a strike that dealt damage. Effect the Adjukite strides 10 feet and strikes. The Zero Rebirth. Most creatures native to the Outer Planes dissipate upon their destruction, and their essence is absorbed by their home plane. Azuras, however, have a fate akin to reincarnation. A slain Azura usually returns in a lesser form, eager to gain retribution upon their killer. Occasionally, exemplary Azuras return in more powerful forms. Interesting, they go down instead of up, but that does make sense. And it's getting hard to talk. I didn't plan this out correctly. Japalazuras have a perverse prosperity for extracting embracing truths from the universe, using a combination of artifice and prophecy to obscure the truth and corrupt traditional soothsaying. They have a special talent for manipulation, beating listeners' worst impulses and prejudices, telling them what their prey most want to hear, and twisting the perception to suit the Japalazuras' own ends. All this occurs from behind a veil, though for Japalazuras are grotesque fiends with 6 arms, infinite faces, and an obsession with the profane. The first Japalazuras rose from the remains of 3 demigod archers, sons of a goddess, who feared their rise to power and slew them. Their merged form was so terrifying that they struck a deal with the powerful Zerarana to alter their face into something more pleasing. The true cruelty of the enhancement became clear only later. The Jepazura had a new face, but the face transformed into a different one every minute, each more hideous than the last. Interesting. See invisibility. Nice. 80 feet telepathy. Ah, good. I see. Jepalazera's faces constantly shift and morph, each visage more grotesque than the last. When a creature enters and starts turning the aura, it must succeed DC 32 will save. Immune, unaffected, disoriented, taking a -2 consequence penalty DC against while it remains an aura. -3. Targeted by a range attack from a bow. One hand free, wielding a bow. Jepalazera attempts to snatch the oncoming arrow from the air, gaining a +4 bonus to AC against the attack. If the attack misses, the Jepalazera snatches the arrow and makes a ranged bow strike to fire the arrow from their own bow. Zeraranas, over time, the mightiest Azuras complete enough cycles of reincarnation and commit enough atrocities over multiple existences to incarnate into the most powerful of their kind. These Azuraranas are demigods of their own right, attracting vile worshippers and heretical cults among mortals. Okay. Ooh. Oh. I'm getting ahead of myself again. I'm just getting tired of talking. My throat hurts. Hatchet, Stopra, False Foe. Jepalazera whispers misleading words and falsehoods to one adjacent creature, using a deception check. Critical success. Target believes that one creature of Jepalazera's choice is mortal foe, spending all its actions to reach and attack that creature. At the end of each of its turns, the target can attempt a DC 32 will save to end the effect early. As critical success, except the effect ends at the end of the creature's first turn, the need for will save. Failure, the target sees through the Jepalazera's attempts at misdirecting and is temporarily immune to false foe for 1 day. Disguise, read omens at will, augury at will, constant magic aura, self only, no detection, see invisibility, veil of lies. Jepalazera can produce infinite arrows as if from an invisible quiver. Each arrow carries a veil of lies that tears the target's psyche, dealing 46 mental damage, while simultaneously imparting an almost indicatively sweet sensation. Jepalazera's hatchets are also soaked in the same veil of lies. Damages already reflected in the stripes above. Ah, okay. Lies, knowledge, and deception. The Nickermassa's stock in trade. They are outstanding scholars with deep and nuanced understanding of religion, philosophy, astrology, and similar subjects. They take particular delight in exploiting the greed and hubris of gullible worshippers, using them to desecrate and destroy their own faith. Even in their goal of undermining the holy Nickermassas, twisted humor knows few bounds, and they prefer to take on the guise of divine messengers with boons to share. Once they find a likely victim or set of victims, they use their vast knowledge of religion to impart contradictory wisdom, leading to an eventual implosion of the faith from heresies of the clergy and congregation themselves. You are just really cool. Go infernal telepathy, 100 feet. See invisibility. Muted curses, weakness 10 good. Towering stance. Oh. Okay. A Nickermassa is in fact a medium creature but appears as a large creature due to the force of their personality. Interesting. A creature interacting with Nickermassa Must attempt DC 36 will save to see the Necromorphs as they truly are. If the creature succeeds, the reach of the Necromorphs' attacks against the foe decrease to 5 feet. 10 feet for their tongue. If all creatures in the Necromorphs' vicinity successfully disbelieve the illusion, the Necromosa becomes medium and enfeebled 2 for as long as everyone sees their true form. That is interesting. Prevent Miracle. Curse Divine. Trigger. A foe within 60 feet casts Bless or a beneficial spell that the Necromora could cast remove an affliction or condition, such as neutralize poison. The Necromora attempts to counteract the enemy's spell. If the Necromora succeeds, the triggering creature is subject to the effects of a Bane spell, the effect it was trying to remove. Divine Nature spells. Bane, Bless, Dimension Door, Heal ×3, Illusion of Disguise, Invisibility, Mind Reading, Neutralize Poison, Remove Disease, Remove Curse, Restore Senses. That's a lot of spells. Dimension Door at will. Detect Alignment, Magic Aura, Non-Detection. Sap Mind focuses their gaze on one creature within 60 feet. Target must succeed DC 34 will save. Regardless of the outcome of the saving throw, target then becomes temporarily immune for 1 day. Call off guard and strengthen target's resistance and becomes stupefied 2 until the end of the next turn. Interesting. Becomes stupefied 2 for 1 minute. Wow. As failed, turn becomes stupefied 3 for 1 hour. Hydrokinesis. I love these guys. I think I'm going to go over their abilities from here on out, because it's taken a while, and my throat is dying. We're not even through A yet. But I'm going to read these, because these are cute. As Arcadius can manipulate water and moisture in minor ways, the most powerful as Arcadius can rehydrate their skin, purify a body of toxins, or forcibly drag the moisture out of an enemy's body, leaving them a drained husk. Athletics. Society. What's this do? Hydration. Arcadi must regularly submerge themselves in water to rehydrate their water-acclimated skin. After the first 24 hours outside of water, they take a -1 status penalty for saves, and their skin cracks and their gills become painful. After 48 hours, they struggle to breathe air and begin to suffocate until they return to water. Much better than Pathfinder 1E's version, where it was like, it was after like an hour they start dying horribly. Not me. I'm curious. Gilman, Pathfinder 2. Yep. Water dependent. A Gilman's body requires constant submersion in fresh salt water. Gilman who spend more than 1 day without fully submerging themselves in water risk internal organ failure, painful cracking of the skin, and death in 46 hours. So it's a little more extreme than this. Which is nice, because that means this is actually, like, manageable and you can play it. Trident, dagger, trident, nothing special. Hydraulic deflection, drawing moisture from the surrounding atmosphere. The Azarkadi Explorer creates a disc of hovering water that deflects incoming attacks. They gain a +1 circumstance bonus to AC until the start of the next turn. What? What? Surface skimmer. While the Azarkadi Explorer is submerged just below the water's surface, they have cover from attacks made by creatures out of the water. Nice. Why are you a butt? As the ears. Ooh. You're interesting. I want to read this. But now I'm good. I'll just read their information. Creature 2, elemental fire. That means you can summon it with summon elemental, which is interesting. That needs to be common, so you can command them pretty easily. Heat of the Forge, 10 feet. As there is skin radiates heat like a forge of fire. A creature that starts their turn in the area must succeed a DC 16 Fortitude save or become fatigued while they remain in the area. Creatures immune to environmental heat effects or with any fire resistance are immune. Warhammer does fire damage and has shove. Burning Touch. Use air strikes, deal an extra 1d6 fire damage, including above. Included above. When the Azure performs a grapple or shove action, they also deal 1d6 fire damage to their target. Interesting. Scorch 2 action. The Azure shrouds their light hammer in flames and hurls it towards hurls it forward, dealing 2d6 fire damage to each creature in the 20-foot line. Hello. Look at his teeth. Look at his nose. Bubble Beast. Melee Jaws, Persistent Acid, and Philiothrapic Bile. That's a word. Exposure to the Bubble Beast magical stomach fluids enchants the mind. A creature critically hit by the beast's jaws or bile strike is subject to a charitable urge spell. Interesting. Forged jewelry. What element are these? Neutral. Okay. Oh, because it's like a beast. And I mean, it's intelligent. Can it speak? Yes, it can. Interesting. The jeweler beast creates imitation jewelry within its own digestive system. This takes about 4 hours. Determining the jewelry's fake works like detecting a forgery, using either your perception or crafting instead of perception or society. The process of creating fake jewelry also places an enchantment inside the item. Anyone who dons the imitation jewelry is targeted with a DC 24 suggestion spell with a duration of 1 hour on a failure, 24 hours on a critical failure. A creature that fails learns the location where the fake jewelry was created and is compelled to collect their valuable belongings and bring them to the location. Removing the imitation jewelry ends the spell immediately, but the wearer can't take it off voluntarily. That is hilarious. And this is horrifying. Hello, good sir. Banished from the ground, Mio can't willingly touch earth or rock surfaces. If forced into contact with such a surface, it becomes enfeebled too for as long as it remains in contact. Frightful presence, 120 feet. Holy crap. Yeah, that's pretty, oh. Mental damage, Arrow of Despair. Arrow of Despair, Emotion. Enchantment, Fear, Incapacitation, Mental Occult. A Bayok creates an invisible arrow of bone as it draws its bow. A frightened creature hit by the arrow is stricken with loneliness and despair and must attempt a DC 26 will save. If the strike was a critical hit, the target uses the outcome 1 degree of success worse than the result of its save. Creature is unaffected. The creature is slowed 1. Creature is frightened value increases by 1 and is slowed 1 until the frightened condition ends. As failure, but the creature is paralyzed until its frightened condition ends. So creature's turns can end the paralyzed condition early with successful DC 26 will save. Devour life, 1 action. Requirements: the Bayok is adjacent to a paralyzed, restrained, or unconscious. Oh, God. The Bayok touches the target and devours part of its life force. The target must succeed DC 26 fortitude save or be afflicted with the Bayok's wasting curse. If the target fails and wasn't already affected by the wasting curse, the Bayok gains temporary hit points that last for 1 hour. Okay, that was the last. Well, never mind. The Bayok steals life from its victim and leaves Lystra's dread in its place. If the target fails its save against Devour Life, it becomes drained 1. Each time the target gets a full night's rest, it must succeed DC 26 save, or its drain value increases rather than decreasing. The curse ends if the creature recovers from the drain condition, but if the creature would gain drain 5 from this effect, it dies. Oh. Beheaded. Ooh. Pause A to maneuver in flight. Does that make sense? Has to fly. It can waddle, apparently. I assume that's like a roll. Or maybe little spider legs come out of its neck and it just crawls around. Nash, one action requirements. The Beheaded's previous action was a Jaws strike that dealt damage to its target. The severed head makes a second Jaws strike as it violently shakes itself, trying to rip away with a mouthful fresh. On success, the target takes an additional 1d4 slashing damage and 1% bleed damage. That is menacing. It is kind of bad, but you can summon it with animate undead. And it's mindless, so you can blow it up. Flaming Skull, also a mindless undead. Negative healing. Positive 3. Fire explosion. When destroyed, a flaming skull explodes in the blast of fire and bone that deals 1d6 piercing damage plus 1d6 fire damage to each adjacent creature. Pizza. Forehead. Just headbutt. Spitfire. Flaming Shroud. A flaming skull is shrouded in hideous flames. It deals 1d6 fire damage to any unattended item it touches. And on a forehead strike, the target catches fire, taking 1d4 persistent fire damage. Hello. Hello. Where do I know you from? I know I've seen you somewhere before as a child. Spirit, not undead. Is aware of all frightened creatures with its range. All damage 10 except Force, Ghost Touch, or Positive. Ominous Footsteps. I mean, that is pretty ominous. The Beto-Beto-san. Footsteps seem to draw ever closer, yet the source remains difficult to pinpoint. Each creature that starts its turn within 60 feet of the Beto-Beto-san must attempt a DC 29 will save. Creatures unaffected and typically immune for 1 minute. Frightened 1, Frightened 2, Frightened 4. For when you just need to just empty your bowels into your pants. The Beto-Beto-san is invisible unless within an area of bright light. This kind of reminds me of a Boo, actually. The Beto-Beto-san isn't already within an area of bright light. Affect the Beto-Beto-san steps briefly into the shadow plane and then back again, appearing up to 30 feet away from where they began. 40 feet, melee claw, negative, stepping decoy. The Beto-Beto-san steps, then they create 2 illusionary decoys of sound within 15 feet of them that mimic the sounds of their ominous footsteps. These decoys act independently on the Beto-Beto-san's initiative with 2 actions apiece. They can only sneak or stride. And they have a speed of 35 feet, so they can't attack. Use the Beto-Beto-san's stealth DC 37 against attempts to seek or disbelieve a decoy. Each decoy lasts for 1 minute. Any existing decoys vanish as the Beto-Beto-san uses this ability again. So that's interesting, and it's good for distracting people. Summon animal has become best spell. Because I can summon the best boy. The bison. It is in person sight. Scent. Hell yeah, gets hold of the option. Welcome to Canada. Pointed charge. The bison surges forward as its foes. Horns lowered. It strides twice as the bison's movement within melee range of an enemy. It makes a horn strike against the enemy. The strike gains the fatal D12 trait. Rolling Thunder. The bison kicks up dust and shakes the ground as it charges. The stampeding bison strides with twice its speed in a straight line, dealing 46 plus 6 bludgeoning damage to any medium or smaller creature in its path. Do we get bisons as animal companions? I just want to know this. Multiple bisons can participate in Rolling Thunder by spending this ability's action and waiting to charge until the herd is ready before beginning their next turn. They can then charge as a reaction triggered by an adjacent bison beginning its Rolling Thunder charge. All bison in the combined charge must charge in a parallel lines. The areas can't overlap. Combined charge deals an additional 3d6 bludgeoning damage to creatures in the area. And the creature that fails its reflex saving throws is knocked prone. What? 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 Aberration. So you can summon that as a bard. That's fun. I can make things. A blood painter can detect exposed blood as an imprecise sense. What? Oh, it's like a shark. Easily fascinated when subject to a visual illusion with the incapacitation trait. Blood painter doesn't suggest their degree of success due to the incapacitation trait. Huh. Interesting. So that means color spray, a level 1 spell, can be used against this thing. And, like, effectively. It's really cool. Yeah. Paizo? What are you doing? The blood painter is in reach of an enemy taking persistent bleed damage. Effect. The blood paint. Oh, it means stabs isn't that kind of dab. Okay. The blood painter touches the creature and applies blood to one of the 4 claws. The blood remains fresh for 1 minute. The target must succeed in a DC 28 will save or become fascinated with their blood painter. I was just picturing him just like looking at someone and just dabbing, but no. They're a painter, cat. The blood painter is fresh blood applied to claw using dab. Effect, the blood painter expends the blood on 1 claw to paint an illusion. With the effects of one of the following spells: illusory creature, illusory disguise, illusory object, and mirror image. It's really cool. The paint action gains the traits of the spells it's reproducing, and the blood painter can sustain a spell on these effects. They use a spell attack modifier of plus 20 and DC 28 for these effects, which are heightened to 5th level. If they have fresh blood applied to 2 or more claws, the blood painter can expend the blood on all of them to instead produce the effects of Cloak of Colors or Vibrant Pattern. That is really cool. Any effects produced by this ability have a +2 status bonus to attacks rolls, damage rolls, and saving throws, skill checks, and AC against a creature whose blood was used to paint, and the creature takes a -2 penalty to perception checks and saves against it. Status. Bone Ship. Please tell me that we're getting actual ship rules. Oh, I'm excited. I was planning a pirate shippy style campaign and oh. I'll wipe the drill from my mouth real quick. It's an undead too, so you can, well, no, it's creature 18, so you can't summon it, but like, damn. How does this work? The bone ship is compelled not by a single mind, but by the collective consciousness of dead sailor souls. The ship is immune to mental effects that target only a specific number of creatures. It's still subject to mental effects that affect all creatures in the area. Any creature that tries to communicate with the ship via telepathy or read its thoughts hears the dying screams and gasps the crew and is triggered with a 9th level warp mind spell. The ship animates skeletal crew members out of its own bones. What? Arming them with rusty old cutlasses or other armaments so they can attack anyone who comes next to the ship. These entities have appearances matching those of the bound souls. How do you keep coming in here and being a butt? Hi! Anyway. Arming them with rusty bound souls had in life but aren't truly individuals. Anything that targets them is in fact targets the bone ship they're a part of. So they're a hive mind, basically. Hundreds of black soul gems decorate the ship's exterior. That is cool. Each holding 1 soul. These gems can hold souls of creatures whose levels was 16th or lower, and they have no value. That'd be interesting if you had, like, a PC who died at 16th level or lower, and then you brought in this, and, like, their soul is in one of these. And you just see, like, you know, a skeleton on the ship that looks exactly like your friend Joe. And he's like, oh, hey, Joe. Well, now we know where you went. If the ship is destroyed, all the gems shatter, freeing the souls within. Good. I was kind of scared when I saw shatter. Like, Trawl of Bones. Downtime. The bone ship spends 1 day scavenging bones from the sea and restores itself to full hit points. That is really cool. Bloodwake. This is such a cool enemy. 30 feet. The churning water around the bone ship tinges red with seeping blood. A living creature that enters water in the aura sees visions of itself drowning in the blood and must attempt DC 37 will save. After attempting this saving throw, the creature is temporarily immune for 1 hour. On a failure, the creature becomes frightened 2, frightened 4 on a critical failure, and stunned 1, and takes a -4 status penalty to the just 1. Yeah. Hull. So what, just rams you. Skeleton crew attacks you. Bone cannon. Ooh, I can use this for my cannon shenanigans. I can use this for my cannon shenanigans! I'm so happy, because I can actually have like more groundwork for like how cannons work, because they don't have cannon rules. Just so happy. Cannonade. The bone ship makes 4 bone cannon strikes, each targeting a different creature. Chain shot. The bone ship makes a special bone cannon strike, firing a chain made of bones. Creature hit by the strike is grabbed by the chain. The bone ship can use interact actions to reel in a grabbed creature 50 feet per action spent, and when the ship moves, it pulls the grabbed creature along with it. My god. That's savage. Crew's call 2 actions. Divine. The crew let out an anguished cry in unison. This is a wail of the Banshee spell with 100 feet emanation. In addition, any creature within 5 feet of the ship is grabbed by the crew. The ship can't use crew's call again for 1d4 plus 1 rounds. Keel haul, 3 actions. Huge or smaller, works as hull, but bone ship swims up to double its swim speed instead of striding, and each creature that fails its save is also dragged onto the ship. Oh, oh, oh. The GM places each creature dragged along in underwater space adjacent to the bone ship at the end of the ship's movement. I wonder how well, no, I know how I'd use that, because it's based on size, so if it's not huge, or if it's huge or smaller, then it's pulled under, and that'd be interesting. Give me ideas. Pressing Soul, Divine. The bone ship casts Bind Soul. The target must have died due to the bone ship's assault, or from drowning. The creature's soul becomes part of the ghostly crew. A new soul gem grows in the ship, and the bone ship is quickened for 1 minute. You can use this to strike or swim and nothing else. Boreworm. No. No. They're an animal. You can summon them. What? No. What? Click on this. Area damage 4, splash damage 4, 8. Bludgeoning, piercing, flashing. Speed 15 feet, burrow 30 feet. Swarming bites. Each enemy in the swarm space takes 3d6 acid damage. Creatures that fail to save become sickened 1 from the sword's painful bites. Empress Boreworm. Ah, good. Aren't you beautiful? Yeah, okay. Tremor Sense. Viviparous Birth. When killed, an Empress Boreworm violently expels the young it carries. These young erupt as a boreworm swarm in the Empress's boreworm space. In addition, every creature within 20 feet takes 5d10 acid damage from the splatter of caustic viscera. So it's like that boss from Hollow Knight. The one that explodes, kind of, and then births her children. Melee, plus 17. 1d6 from painful bite. An Empress Boreworm can leave a tunnel behind itself when it burrows, and usually does. What size are you? Huge. Okay. Corrosive Wake. The Empress Boreworm strides, leaving behind dripples of acid in every square that passes through. A creature that enters or begins turn in such a square takes 3d6 acid damage. The acid becomes inert after 1 minute. The bite of an Empress Boreworm causes excruciating pain. The target must DC 25 fortitude save or becomes sickened 1 from the pain. Sickened 2 on a critical failure. Brainchild. Hello. Hello. You're interesting. Holy shit, do you have a lot of stuff. Illusion? Mental? Interesting. Okay. Anything Anything spoken by the brainchild is perceived by the listener in its native language. Ooh! I gotta know how these work. The brainchild is sustained only by the reputation that precedes them. Mindless creatures are immune to a brainchild and can't perceive them. Their brainchild's size, features, and items, as well as the appearance of their attacks, match that the foes perceiving them expect. If foes expect to see different things, the brainchild chooses which to manifest. If any creature that can perceive the brainchild believes the brainchild has one of the abilities below, the brainchild has that ability. Oh god. A creature can seek or sense motive against the brainchild's perception DC to attempt to disbelieve an individual ability. This would be so fun to base an adventure around. If at any point no creature perceiving the brainchild believes in the ability, the brainchild loses that ability immediately. If the foes expect different particulars, such as one believing the brainchild is immune to fire and another believing the brainchild is immune to divinations, the brainchild chooses one to have. Tremor sense, 100 feet, immunity to 1 damage type. Weakness 10, resistance 10, frightful presence 100 feet, 1d6 extra damage on strikes, additional spells, AC 30, 200 HP, mental 10, weakness, interesting. Persistence of memory. When a brainchild is destroyed, it returns if anyone still fully believes it exists. Free from within 100 feet of any ability for up to 2d4 days. Holy shoot. It can fly. Illusionary weapon. This is so cool. Like, this is so cool. Phantasmal. Like, you can make so many things from this thing. Because it's just like, hey, do you believe of, like, this thing? Yeah. Like, do you believe in werewolves? Do you believe in Slenderman? Dimension door, ghost sound, message. Oh, so cool. And you're interesting. How she waddle. Buzo farmer. Creature 3. That is a humanoid. Goblin and Sylvan. It's medium. Resize plant. Twice per day. The Buso touches a small, medium, or large plant. Effect that. Relish plant? They are a plant. The Buso touches a small, medium, or large plant. Effect. The plant grows or shrinks by 1 size, remaining that size for the next 5 minutes. If used on a plant creature, the effect has the effects of enlarge or shrink. Unwilling plant creatures can attempt a DC 18 fortitude saving throw to resist this effect. That is really cool. And you are interesting. That's a humanoid. That's actually like a person. It's not like an undead. Location. What? Can use their hearing as price sense unless you range. 60 feet. Interesting. Visual. I guess he's blind. I guess that makes sense. He has no eyes. Death blaze. When the vanguard dies, their body combusts in a blaze of fire and armor shrapnel. All creatures within 10 feet emanation take 3d6 fire damage and 3d6 piercing damage. The vanguard armor is destroyed in the blaze, but their other gear is unaffected and left in a pile where they died. Nothing really interesting there. Color arms. Each Caligny within 30 feet of the vanguard gains the attack of opportunity reaction until the end of the vanguard's next turn. Once a Caligny has used the attack of opportunity, the Caligny is temporarily in the same government of 10 minutes. Shivered blade. Darkness. The vanguard makes a melee strike, channeling shadowy essence into the weapon or unarmed attack to envelop the target. If the strike hits, the target must succeed a DC 19 fortitude save or become blind until the end of the next turn. Caligny collar. Oh, it's these guys. I remember these guys from Pathfinder 1st edition. And they're just so cool. Yeah. They're just really cool, and I always wanted to play one. Light blindness, death umbra, darkness. When I caller dies, an explosion of shadow devours their body. Each creature in 10-foot emanation must succeed a DC 22 fortitude save. Enfeebled 1 for 1 minute, enfeebled 2, and slowed 1 for 1 minute. Interesting. Shadow Walk, Darkness, Chilling Darkness times 2, Grin Tendrils, Darkness at Will, Chill Touch, Detect Magic, Obe, Pact. Call these initial 2d6 persistent damage to flat-footed foes. You are chaotic evil. Okay. You call upon the Obe to assist you in a goal. Only Caligny callers can use this ritual with a relative safety. If a different type of Caligny attempts this ritual, they use an outcome 1 degree of success worse than the ritual for their check. If a non-Caligny attempts the ritual, the result is an automatic critical failure. They conjure the Obe. It decides your goals closely match its own, doesn't require a favor in return. Conjure the Obe. It isn't eager to pursue the task, so it requires a favor in return. You don't conjure the Obe. You conjure an Obe, but it deems you unworthy and siphons away some of your soul energy. All casters become doomed to 196 and 142. Obe. Oh, this is an Obe. That's not what I was expecting. I was expecting an orb, not an Obe. It is only CR6 though. Interesting. Perception plus 13, greater dark vision. Languages, Caligny, can't speak, has telepathy. Light blindness. Melee. Slashing. Burning cold. Persistent cold. Garden spells, plane shift of only to or from the shadow plane only. Shadow blast, shadow walk, darkness, invisibility, mind reading. Actually, we can. Mind reading, cantrips, chill touch days, read, aura, shield. Curse of darkness. The Obe inflicts a curse on one creature, taking persistent cold damage from their burning cold strike. Stealing victim's vibrancy, the creature must attempt a DC 23 fortitude save. On failure, the creature gains light blindness and its coloration turns to washed out shades of grey, along with all equipment it carries, wields, and wears. These effects have an unlimited duration, regardless of the result of its save. The creature is temporarily for 1 minute. The Obe uses its ability on Caligny. The curse can't be removed short of a wish or a similar powerful magic. Interesting. I would, like, kill a gnome. Obe Prophet. Telepathy, same thing. Forsaken Patron, each Obe Prophet serves as a conduit to one of the shadow demigods known as the Forsaken. Forsaken Patrons are detailed in the sidebar, and each grants their own Obe prophecies. These are these here. Like blindness, AC, melee, range, nothing too crazy. Clutching cold is interesting. Plane shift, 200 shadow plane only, times 3, shadow blast times 3, darkness at will, dominate times 3, shadow walk times 3, invisibility, mind reading at will, goodness, shield touch, days reader of shield, burning cold, fusillade. The Obe Prophet makes 3 burning cold strikes. Clutching cold, the creature hit by the Prophet's burning cold strikes becomes immobilized in a cluster of binding ice crystals. Curse of darkness. As Obe at DC 32, can you worship these things? Shadow swiftness. An Obe Prophet can cast Shadow Walk as a 3-action activity instead of a 1 minute. If they do so, they target only themselves. Yeah, looks like you can. Interesting. We're at 42. Yes. Calicane. Interesting. What are you? You are a humanoid. Okay. I assume these are like the mutated. Oh. I don't know. Interesting. They're just their own thing. Okay. True seeing. Suspended animation. By concentrating for 5 minutes, the Calicane can enter a state of suspended animation, freezing in place and becoming motionless but remaining aware of their surroundings. While in this state, the Calicane gains a +4 bonus to fortitude saves, don't age, and is immune to disease, inhaled toxins, poison, starvation, and thirst. The Calicane can exit suspension animation as a free action if they exit the state of attack. Okay. So basically they like are dormant centuries of ancient tomes. Interesting. Energy conversion. Whenever the Calican is hit by an electricity spell's attack roll or rolls a successful save against a spell that deals electricity damage, they absorb the energy. This heals the Calican for an amount of HP equal to quadruple the spell's level. And recharges their breath weapon. The Calican can't absorb their own spells this way. Well, thank God. Chain lightning, magic weapon at will, constant true seeing. Breath weapon. Once per day. Okay. Calican breathes a blast of energy that deals 13d6. What? Huh. Energy damage to creatures in a 60-foot line, DC 28 basic reflex save. The Calican can choose the damage type each time, as cold, electric, fire, or sonic. Increasing the die size D8 if the Calican chooses electricity. Interesting. That'd be a pain in the ass to roll. Six-fold flurry, 2 actions. The Calican makes up to 2 longsword strikes and up to 4 fist strikes. Each strike must be against a different target. These attacks count towards the Calican's multiple attack penalty, which doesn't increase until after all the attacks are complete. For 1 round, the Calican gains a circumstance bonus to AC equal to the number of strikes they chose not to take. Maximum +4 for only taking 2 strikes. Interesting. Camel. It's a camel. You can summon it. Desert adapted. It's well adapted to heat and deserts. If allowed to drink and eat its fill, roughly 40 gallons, it can subsist for 2 weeks without needing to attempt survival checks, and treats environmental heat as if it was 1 step less severe. Camel spit. To drive away enemies, the camel spits the particularly digested contents of its stomach at a creature within 10 feet. On a hit, the target is dazzled for 1 round. It must DC 17 Fortitude save or become sickened 1. The camel can't use its camel spit strike again for 1d4 rounds. Its mouth becomes dry. Sand stride. The camel strides twice. It has a +5 hit circumstance bonus to its speed during these strides, ignoring difficult terrain caused by rubble, sand, and uneven ground made of earth and stone. Cavalry brigade. Holy shoot. Neat. Gargantuan. Common Infernal. HP thresholds. I don't know what these mean. Oh, I see. So that's their size. That's so cool. Arrow volley. 2 actions. The Hell Knights draw and reload their reload their longbows, then launch a ranged attack in the form of a volley. This volley is a 10-foot burst within 100 feet that deals 48 piercing damage. When the troop is reduced to 8 or fewer squares, this area decreases to a 5-foot burst. Yeah. That's interesting. Form up. We're on page 45. Form up, the troop chooses one of the squares it currently occupies and redistributes its squares to any configuration in which all squares are contiguous and within 15 feet of the chosen square. The troop can't share its space with other creatures. Interesting. Lance charge. 3 actions. Brigade forms up, then strides twice with a plus 10-foot circumstance bonus with speed. If it moves at least 10 feet, the brigade deals 3d8 plus 13 piercing damage to each enemy within 10 feet of the brigade at the end of its movement. Mounted troop. It affects that target only animals or only humanoids, may not work on the cavalry brigade, subject to DM's description. Swing from the saddle, 1 action to 3 action. Frequency once per round. Effect: the brigade engages in coordinated melee attacks against each enemy within 10 feet. Number depends on the number of actions. Oh, damage depends on the number of actions. 2d6 slashing damage, 2d6 plus 10 slashing damage, and 3d6 plus 13 slashing damage. Trailblazing stride. Running out of water. Correction, I ran out of water. While moving on land, the Hell Knight Cavalry Brigade ignores the effects of non-magical difficult terrain. Troop movement: whenever the Cavalry Brigade strides, the brigade first forms up as a free action to condense into a 20-foot by 20-foot area, minus any missing squares, then moves. This works just like a gargantuan creature moving. For instance, if any square of the brigade enters difficult terrain, the extra movement cost applies to the whole brigade. It might sound weird, but I mean it makes sense, because the guy in front of you slows down, you're going to slow down too. If you're in a line, you're going to accommodate. So on and so forth. I'm going to quickly get a glass of water. And I return with Mr. Amphibious humanoid. Wave sense, sacrifice. Plus 13 to grapple. Melee long spear, plus 15. Magical reach, 10 feet. Damage, 2d8 plus 7 piercing. 15 plus grab. Concealia jet move, 2 actions. Concealia moves up to 140 feet in a straight line through the water. What's their base speed? Oh, Jesus. Roll net requirements. The Concealia is holding a net in 2 appendages. Effect: the Concealia hurls their net, attempting to hamper a foe. Concealia makes a ranged strike with a plus 15 modifier against a medium or smaller creature within 20 feet. On a hit, the target is flat-footed and takes a minus 10-foot circumstance penalty to its speeds. On a critical hit, the creature is instead restrained. The DC to escape the net is 16. The creature adjacent to the target can interact with the net to remove it from the target. Ink cloud. Concealia emits a cloud of black ink in a 10-foot emanation. This ink cloud has no effect outside of water. Creatures inside the cloud are undetected by creatures using sight or smell and can't see or smell while inside the cloud. It dissipates after 1 minute. Concealia can't use ink cloud again for 2d6 rounds. What? What? What even are you? A gargantuan aberration. Telepathy 100 feet. Don't know where I saw 20. 135. Mental, physical, and acid resistance. Alien investment. The Chizidu wears an eerie alien layer of shimmering violet mucus that slithers and crawls over its flesh, but it's hard as iron to the touch. If a Chizidu takes bludgeoning damage from a critical hit, its alien investment is shattered. This reduces its AC to 27, causes it to lose its resistance to mental and physical damage. It can grow a new alien investment by concentrating for 1 hour. That would suck. Ecstatic hunger. 30 feet incapacitation. A Chizidu gains sustenance by feeding upon the metabolisms of organic victims. A living creature that ends its turn in the aura must attempt a will save. Typical immune for 24 hours. Flat-footed for 1 round. It's hungry. 2 actions in the next turn: eating or drinking, or spending actions to produce food or drink from its positions or surroundings if necessary. The creature won't consume anything dangerous, but will eat things it normally has no appetite for. Hey buddy, you look delicious. As failure, the creature will eat or drink dangerous consumables such as poison or rotten food. If other food or drink are not immediately available, the creature must spend its first 2 actions each round consuming for as long as it remains in the creature's use or plus 1 minute thereafter. Abilities can attempt a new saving throw to end the effect early. Command harm times 4, sending, airwalk, dimensional anchor, heal, blindness, chilling touch, heal, enhance, victuals, vicbile, ghoulish craving, silence, command fear, sanctuary, dazed, divine lance, message, read aura, sigil. Well, how far? I think I'm gonna call it there, because my voice hurts, my throat hurts, and it's getting hard to talk, it's getting hard to concentrate. So I'm going to sign off here, and thank you all for watching oh so much.